Good afternoon and welcome to Thursdays with AARP Wisconsin, our weekly virtual program that lets you know all that's going on at AARP Wisconsin. If you're a familiar attendee of our shows on Thursdays, you're probably expecting to see Amber Miller, our regular host for Thursdays with AARP Wisconsin. So, surprise, this is Sam Wilson, State Director with AARP Wisconsin, and I'll be your host for today's show. We're going to be talking about EBB, and if you're scratching your head while listening to that three-letter acronym, you're probably not alone. Fortunately for us, we've got an expert from AARP Wisconsin here with us today to tell us more about what EBB is and how it may be able to impact and help you. But we do want to talk about a few things first, as we always do with our Thursdays with AARP Wisconsin show. We want to remind you, of course, if you want to know all that's going on with AARP Wisconsin, don't forget to go to our website at aarp.org/WI. There you'll find out all that we're working on, as well as you'll be able to click on an events link that'll let you know some of the other virtual activities that are coming up. And we'll tell you more about that as we close out the show today as well. Also, as we continue our recovery from the coronavirus pandemic, a lot of people are still looking for resources and assistance. And we want to remind folks about aarpcommunityconnections.org, where you can go and find more information about our Friendly Voices program and other resources that might be appropriate for you as you're looking for those, as we all try to get through this past year and emerge and reemerge into society to see our friends and family and loved ones once again this summer. Also, you can call that number directly if you do not want to use the web link at 1-888-281-0145. And lastly, the last piece of our introduction, if you are interested in giving of your time and talent to AARP Wisconsin, we want to remind you that you can certainly do so. We'd love to have you as part of our volunteer corps, which we couldn't do our work without. So go to this link below, aarp.org/I want to volunteer. We'd be happy to see if we can find a place for you at AARP Wisconsin. So with that, I do want to talk about our issue of the day, EBB, the Emergency Broadband Benefit. So with us today, we're going to have Lisa Lamkins, one of our Associate State Directors for Advocacy, who handles all of our federal issues. She's going to give us an insight as to what this program really is. So Lisa, we clearly know that broadband and high-speed internet has been critical to people's lives over the last 15 months. Those of us that didn't know what a Zoom or a Skype was prior to this, we're all familiar with that. But we've always had concerns about cost about coverage and quality of high-speed internet, but cost is clearly another factor that people are concerned about, and one of the things that prevents them from getting high-speed internet into their homes or business. But now we have this new EBB benefit. So what's this new program all about?
Yeah, Sam, well, thanks so much. I'm really happy to be here to be able to share some good information about this. And the EBB is a temporary federal program that can help people with the cost of their high-speed internet. Now, this really came out of some of the relief because of the pandemic, and as you mentioned, people realized how much we need to rely on internet, and so the EBB is a short-term program. It's going to run until there's $3.2 billion that have been allocated for the program, and once that money has been used up, then the program will end. So it's a temporary program, but it could be of some pretty significant help to people.
So, and I want to remind folks that if you do have questions for Lisa that we're not addressing in our conversation, make sure you put those questions in the comment section, and we'll be sure to get to as many of those as we can. And we love to have audience interaction in these shows, obviously. And if you're watching this on replay, you can always interact with AARP Wisconsin through our social channels as well, and submit questions as well. So Lisa, so we talk about, here's the benefit, here's how much money is in it, and we're going to use it until it's gone. But who's actually eligible for EBB?
Yeah, well, and that really is an important point, Sam. And we are, very much encouraging people to check their eligibility. Because this benefit is limited, it's available on a first come, first served basis. And we're encouraging people maybe who either don't have access to high speed internet or you're struggling to afford it to look into this benefit. So, who qualifies? Who should be even looking into it? Well, there's some easy qualifications if you participate in certain federal benefit programs. And this is things such as food assistance or SNAP, if you participate in the state Badger Care program, if you have federal housing assistance, if you get SSI, which is the supplemental security income, or if you get veterans and survivors pension benefits. But it also, you qualify automatically if you have people in your household, kids, for example, who get free and reduced school lunches, or if you're a college student who gets a Pell Grant. Now, if none of these apply to you, you might be thinking, well, okay, then none of that works for me. What else? So a big piece, and this is where we, are encouraging people to think about this. If you've had a substantial loss of income during the pandemic, and your household income is below $99,000 for an individual and $198,000 for joint filers, you are also eligible for this program. And that's where I think a lot of people might be thinking, well, I don't know. Well, when you think about that, if you've had a big loss because of the pandemic, if you weren't able to work, if you were out of a job for a while, it really is worth looking into this program to help with the high costs of that internet.
So it sounds like there's a lot of different categories that people can fit into, Lisa, to make to find out that they're eligible for the emergency broadband benefit. So that's really good to know, and I think that'll extend the number of people who are really interested in hearing more about it. And if you are just joining our Thursdays with AERP Wisconsin show, we are talking about EBB, the Emergency Broadband Benefit. If you have questions about that, or for our guest, Lisa Lamkins, Associate State Director for Advocacy on our federal issues in the AARP Wisconsin office, go ahead and put those into the comments, and we're going to get to as many of those as we can as well. And so far we've highlighted so what the program is, we've highlighted how you can benefit from the program, but what actually is the benefit, Lisa? What do people get if they're included in the program?
Right. I mean, this is really kind of the most important part. And I know many of us really struggle with the cost of our internet service. So, what this emergency broadband benefit provides is up to a $50 a month discount for your high speed internet service. Now, it's up to 75 bucks a month if you are a household on tribal lands, and your household just has to be on tribal lands. You don't necessarily need to be a member of the tribe. It also includes a one-time discount of up to $100 for a laptop, a desktop computer, or a tablet. So that's pretty good. Now, 50 bucks a month, that's a real savings. That is the kind of thing that really adds up. Now, I think it's important to know you only get one discount per household. So, for example, I couldn't use the discount and have my college age son use it as well. So it's one discount per household, but could save you, $50 a month on your internet services. And Sam, I just want to mention real quick because I just happened to see this survey. It was a Pew Research Center survey of more than 1,500 adults, and about 15% of like home users for internet access say they have trouble paying for their high-speed internet service. And that includes, there's an additional 34% of people with lower incomes. And so this really impacts a lot of folks. And so that's really why we're encouraging people to kind of check it out. and see if this might be something that can help you.
Yeah, that's really helpful. And I see that we're getting our first comment in the chat. And Arlene, who is a frequent watcher of Thursdays with AARP Wisconsin, we always appreciate you seeing Arlene and your questions. She's getting to the crux of the issue. So we've got people who are interested in the program. They know what they're going to get. She's interested, is there a website or a phone number, and how do you apply? And I think that's kind of the next area we want to address, Lisa. So how do people enroll in this emergency broadband benefit?
Yeah, great question. So if you think you're eligible, you basically enroll through your internet provider. You can enroll directly with the Universal Services Administrative Company. It's USAC. They're the people who administer some programs for the Federal Communications Commission. So the best way to get to some of that is actually to go to a special page that AARP set up. That's at aarp.org/EBB. And I know we also have the phone number because people are like, hey, this is awesome. We'd like to get more information on internet, but you're giving me a website and I can't necessarily get to it. So we do have a phone number as well. That is 833 511-0311, and that is a toll-free call. And I'm sure we'll get back to those in a little bit as well. So you can get all the links of places to apply directly from those resources.
Well, certainly that website doesn't get any easier. aarp.org/EBB for people that are interested in finding out more about the program and getting more information. As you said, Lisa, contacting your local broadband provider in many parts of Wisconsin is simply one provider. So there's only one place you can go, but that may have multiple options in some of our other areas that may be listening in today's program. I also want to reiterate that 800 number, 1-833-511-0311. Hopefully everybody, if you've been watching Thursdays with AARP Wisconsin, you know to have a pen and paper nearby, or at least your notes section up on your smartphone or your computer if you're listening to us on the computer. So, uh, you know, just jot down those items and make a call or check it out on the internet, and we'll get you the information you need. So great question. Thank you, Arlene. Again, Lisa, what else would you add to that?
Well, there is one other thing that I would add, and only because we have heard some reports that some internet companies are trying to upsell people when they say they would like to enroll in this program. So, one of the key things as a consumer protection that folks need to know is that you don't need to do anything different. You don't need to add to your package, you don't need to increase your speed. You are eligible to get this benefit with whatever current package you have. Now, of course, you will have to be aware if you get the $50 off now, once the program ends, then your internet will go up by that $50. It won't stay down. This is only a temporary program, but you don't have to do anything extra. You don't have to buy extra services or lock into an additional 2 years. So that is something to really be aware of if you are going to enroll in the program.
Yeah, great thoughts there. And again, for those of you that might just be joining our Thursdays with AARP Wisconsin virtual program, we're talking about EBB, the Emergency Broadband Benefit that is available to Wisconsinites and all Americans across the country. And we have Lisa Lamkins, Associate State Director with AARP Wisconsin, who focuses on our federal issues, talking about how to get more information and enroll in this new emergency broadband benefit. So we've gone through what the program is, what the benefit is, how do you become eligible, and how do you enroll. So I guess my remaining question is, Lisa, why is AARP involved in promoting this EBB program?
Well, I think, and Sam, you mentioned this a little bit at the beginning of the program, if the pandemic has shown us anything, It's really that access to high-speed internet is a necessity. It is really no longer a luxury. We AARP fought for this benefit because there are just too many people who don't have access to the high-speed internet that they need to work, to go to school, to see the doctor, and particularly where it pertains to older adults, to avoid isolation. You talked about Zoom. We know we've been doing a lot of Zoom meetings, for example, with our volunteers, and sometimes that's the only time people get to see somebody else's face. So, we really wanted to promote this program to help people, get and stay connected to internet service, and I think, after the pandemic ends and as we're sort of starting to come out of it, I know from our office perspective, we're trying to think of ways to keep our virtual programming, for example, and to keep people connected in other ways. And I think this is something we're going to continue to see. And so that just means it's even more important for us to have that access. In Wisconsin, about 10% of our total population in the state does not have high-speed internet. And that includes about 33% of rural Wisconsinites and 17% of our tribal population. That's really too many people who are being left out of what we need. And often it's, access, which is, one particular issue around broadband, but often it's the cost. And if nothing else, the emergency broadband benefit can at least temporarily help out with the cost of the high-speed internet that people really need. And I think I'll mention, Sam, which I probably just cut you off, so sorry for that.
That's okay.
But I was going to mention that Wisconsin's doing a pretty good job. We've been working really hard in Wisconsin about trying to get this information out. And so far, we have about 59,000 people in the state who have registered for this program. So hopefully anybody hearing the program will, have their interest piqued and want to get a little bit more and see if they're eligible as well.
So 59,000, Lisa, help me. Is that good in comparison to the rest of the country? Is that where does that have us sort of fall in the number of people who are accessing the benefit?
Yeah, actually, we are ninth in the country in terms of the number of people who have enrolled. So I think that is really great. But I know Wisconsin, and we always want to be number one. So, we'll continue to push this benefit. And just, we know there are too many people in our state who are challenged by the high costs of internet, in addition to the, quality and access issues. But we're going to continue to keep getting the word out.
Yeah, I think that's really critical. And clearly, by what you've laid out here today, there is a significant benefit, not just in the internet service, but I think about the $100 towards a tablet or some other device. Sometimes that's the barrier for many people to even think about getting high-speed internet because they're like, well, I don't have a device that I would use it with, and to be able to have some money to assist in the investment and something like a desktop or a laptop or a tablet, I think is really significant as well. If you're joining us this afternoon for our regular Thursdays with AARP Wisconsin virtual show, you're hearing about the EBB, the Emergency Broadband Benefit. If you've got any questions about what we've been discussing today, please be sure to drop those into the comment section. We want to address any questions that people have. And of course, if you're watching this on replay, please interact with us through our social channels. Connect with AARP Wisconsin. We're happy to follow up with you as well for any information that you would need. Lisa, it's also really interesting that sometimes over the last year, we've kind of joked about high-speed internet being our link to, getting toilet paper or, something that you couldn't live without. But it's been remarkable the ways that people have had to completely shift their lives to utilize high-speed internet for a variety of things. I think about in my own house, my kids going fully virtual with school. Clearly AERP, we've been teleworking for the last, goodness, 15 months. It's really It's really taken over many aspects of our lives. And while we transition, hopefully soon, to more in-person activities, maybe you can just reflect on what the last month has sort of been like through your eyes and through our members and volunteers who've had to really take on this challenge of learning how to use high-speed internet.
Yeah, you're right, Sam. It really has been a challenge. And I think even for those of us who, thought we knew how to do all the ins and outs of internet, there are a bunch of new things that we have all learned. I frankly had never heard of Zoom before, whatever, 15 months ago. And now, we're able to reach out to our members and offer programs to people across the state that we never would have been able to do. For example, we did a virtual tour of the Wisconsin Historical Society based in Madison. We were looking at, this was back in the fall, we looked at a tour of the women's suffrage movement. That was super cool. We had people from all over the state who never would have been able to come to Madison, but were able to participate in that virtual tour. And I think that's why we're going to continue doing programs like that. I know I, for one, have really taken to some of the virtual work. Frankly, I'll be the first to admit I have a dress top on and of course wearing yoga pants on the bottom, right? People have talked about this. So that's I've heard this described as the mullet work outfit, right? Work on top and casual on the bottom. But everybody, I think, many people who've been working at home have embraced that. So those are the kind of the fun pieces. But the good pieces about it really go to help a lot of people who maybe can't get to Madison, maybe have, just have trouble getting around, maybe aren't comfortable driving downtown. There are so many reasons to be connected virtually, and which is why it's so important to have access to high speed internet. And that's we're talking today about how to help pay for that. But AARP has also been, working and really pushing and very vocal in terms of making sure that people around our state have access to, high speed internet, and that it's quality and that the speeds are all okay. There are lots of different components to this, but it's an issue that we have found is very important to our members and their families, and not just for the connections, but it could be for things like your doctor's visits. We're going to see,
Exactly. Yep.
much more in terms of telemedicine and telehealth, and so having access to this, really helps people who might not otherwise have access to some of those things.
Great insights. Perfect. We're getting to the bottom of the hour, Lisa. Maybe let's do one last run through of the benefit itself. What do you get as a result of registering for EBB? And then finally those contact information about where people can go to get more information. So let's start first with the benefit. Remind us what the benefit is.
Yep, absolutely. So the EBB it's a temporary program to help with the cost of your high-speed internet. It's a federal program that's run through the FCC, and it will last until the amount of money that has been allocated for it sort of runs out, which is why if you're interested in it, don't wait. You get this benefit on a first come, first served basis. So we really encourage people to kind of check it out sooner rather than later. For eligible folks, you get up to a $50 a month discount on your internet service, and it's up to a $75 a month discount if you're on tribal lands. Plus, you can get a one-time discount of $100 for a laptop, a desktop, or a tablet. So that's really good. That's a really good benefit. You can enroll in the program either directly with your internet provider if you already have that service. And if you have questions, if you aren't really sure, again, the different eligibility categories, because there are lots of different ways that you can be eligible for this program. We have 3 ways that you can actually get more information. And I think our website, if you are online, our website is really terrific. It's aarp.org/EBB. And you can get kind of everything you need to know with links on where to apply from that website.
Perfect. Excellent. So, Lisa, any last thoughts or information about EBB or suggestions? I know probably do it sooner rather than later with the limits on the amount of benefit that's available. Certainly, we don't want that to run out before people have a chance to enroll. Any other words of wisdom?
Yeah, I think that's really the key thing, and I would also just let people know, don't automatically assume that you're not eligible. It's worth taking 10 minutes to kind of go through some of those categories and see if you're eligible. So we really are encouraging people to check that out. And then I'll just mention two more ways to get more information if you happen to not necessarily be online. I think we've mentioned the toll-free number where you can call for more information. And again, that's 833-511-0311. Or if you already have a cell phone, you can actually text the word internet to 22777. Those are just ways you can get more information.
Lisa, I can't imagine needing more ways to get more information. We certainly, hopefully, have gotten the word out. And by our ranking of 9th in the country so far of people accessing the benefit, hopefully AERP is contributing to that knowledge across Wisconsin and incentivizing people to take the next step and actually sign up for EBB. So thank you, Lisa, for joining us for this week's Thursdays with AERP Wisconsin and our virtual shows for upcoming events. We always love to tease what's upcoming with our virtual activities. Hopefully soon again, we'll be having in-person activities across the state. So what's up next for us? Well, you can always go to our website at aerp.org/WI and click on the events link. Here you'll see June 8th, our Livable Communities 101 are also on June 8th. It's a double header on June 8th. We've got Coffee's Hot History Food Historian Lecture. We love the food historian lectures here at AERP Wisconsin. Also June 9th, Walking Safely When You Are 50 Plus, as we're all emerging out and enjoying the great outdoors, although it's awfully hot today around Wisconsin. Then June 15th, AERP in La Crosse's Disrupt Aging Virtual Book Club is happening as well. So a lot of great events. You can, of course, register for those events. You'll see some more popping up, a home fit workshop on June 23rd. Make sure you go to our website. And also you can call our 877-926-8300 to make sure that you are registered for any of those events that you're interested in. Also, you've been hearing about our Small Dollar Big Impact program all this year, doing a radical thing on a non-radical scale. These have been extraordinarily popular in communities across Wisconsin, including our latest winners in Eagle River, Wisconsin. If you want to find out more about the Wisconsin Small Dollar Big Impact Grants, make sure you go to aerp.org/WISDBI. Next application deadline is June 16th. So want to thank everybody for joining us today. As your guest host, Sam Wilson, State Director for AERP Wisconsin. Next week, your regular host, Amber Miller, will be back in the saddle. So we hope you'll join us next Thursday for our show as well. So thanks. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your week. And we look forward to seeing you online soon.